Looking for tips from the pros. Shake, Rattle, and Troll is brought to you by Bill Luke Dodge Chrysler Jeep. Now, here's your host, saltwater fisherman and tournament pro, Don McDowell.
Well, good morning, everybody. No, it is not Don McDowell. You've got the alternate best in the box, JK, today. You know, there are moments and opportunities where Don has to do the dirty work. And right now he's sitting somewhere in the Deep South and basically taking in the Bassmaster Classic. So I have agreed to be participant today in his seat. You know, I finally noticed something. He's got a bigger microphone than everybody else does here. Good morning, Pat Daddy.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good. Well, our first guest this morning is Jeff Dolphin, and I had an opportunity to work with Jeff. Actually, I wasn't even working. I was at a retirement banquet up at the Honda Casino, and that happened, about a week and a half ago. A dear friend of mine retired from the Arizona Game and Fish Department, and my person sitting next to me, having the dinner with me, was Jeff Dolphin. And Jeff works with Arizona Game and Fish Department, and as conversation started...
Wait. Jeff Dolphin?
Yeah, I was going to get to that.
Curtis Gill
and Jeff Dolphin should both be in the Fisheries Division. However, after the introductions and we started chatting, it turns out he is part and parcel of the Wolf program. And the more dinner kept going, the more interesting the conversation got. And so I finally got to the point where I said, okay, here's what we're going to do, Jeff. Would you mind coming on the radio? He said, well, I have to get clearance. And I said, okay. And who happened to be at that same dinner but Mr. Jim DeVos. And so when I was talking to Mr. DeVos, I said, can we have Mr. Dolphin on the air with us? And he said, absolutely, not a problem. However, I want to monitor all the questions that you're going to ask him. So we said, okay, and do we have Mr. Dolphin on with us? Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
Good morning. I'm here.
All right. What is your official title with the Game and Fish Department?
I am the field team leader for the Arizona Game and Fish Department, and it's the Arizona Game and Fish Department contingent of the Mexican Wolf Recovery Project.
Ah, okay.
Boy, that takes up a lot of room on the business
yeah, I was
card.
going to say, your business card's got to be all over the place, right?
Yeah, I just quit carrying business cards like the other night there when you asked for it.
All right, let's talk about, first let's get rid of some of the, what I call the scandalous rumors. You and I were having dinner, and you said there was a current rumor floating around that a dozen of the Canadian wolves had been dropped into the Heber, Overguard, Young, and Payson area. Can you dispel that?
That was in an article I read about 2 weeks ago. There is no northern wolves or Canadian wolves in Arizona. We have not released those wolves. We are just concerned with the Mexican wolf subspecies of gray wolf. It is a genetically unique species, and the last thing we want is Canadian wolves mixing with the Mexican gray wolf population.
Correct. We're doing our part, and we'll between you, me, and the fence post, we'll define our part somewhere down the world. But for right now, we talked about it. I asked you specifically at dinner, and you said we have 83 wolves on the ground, and we kind of chuckled about that. But you gave me some interesting viewpoints. How often do you count the wolves that you have in the state of Arizona and / New Mexico?
Well, our survey starts every year November 1st, and we do a helicopter survey every January. So between November 1st and the last week of January, we're busy going around and following the wolves that have radio collars on, and then we're also investigating other reports where we think we may have wolves without radio collars. And so the packs that we start tracking November 1st to the end of January, we're gathering data on how many animals are there for that 3-month period. So we just don't fly everything 1 week in January and then come up with the population number. We actually spend 3 months generating that number. So if we're counting one pack of wolves and we're seeing 6 wolves in there in November, 6 wolves in there in December, and then we get 6 in January, we feel like we got a pretty fairly good count on those animals.
Now, let's put it this way. Let's go back a little bit. You mentioned collared wolves. How many uncollared wolves do we have in the state right now?
We have 51 with radio collars, or within the whole population. I can recall that we have 51 collared wolves right now.
And then they, of course, have pups that are not collared, but you know by visual count, how many there are, correct?
Yeah, so there's roughly 32 uncollared wolves right now.
Okay. And as time goes by, will you maintain a collaring protocol with them, or is that something that's going to kind of go away?
What we try and do right now is collar at least 2 pups every year. If a wolf pack has a litter of pups, we try and attempt to collar at least 2 of those pups every year, and that helps us meet the breeding pair mark. And a breeding pair definition is a breeding male and female that have 2 pups till December 30th, that survive until December 31st.
And how has how has the pup? In terms of the pups that you've seen, are most of them making it out of that pup phase into adulthood?
What we've been seeing right now is that from what's produced in the springtime, about 50% of those pups survive up until December 31st, and then the number that survive into adulthood probably decreases a little more after that. For example, I know of one pack that over 3-4 years produced 22 pups, and 2 of them are adults right now. So that are even adults and reproducing. So the number of animals that are produced that survive into years where they're reproducing is actually very low.
And what's the mortality cause, the greatest cause of mortality on the juveniles?
We have an extensive, a wide array of mortality reasons. We do have a lot of illegal shootings of these wolves, but we also see other things as, for example, like car collisions. We've even had some that have been killed by elk before.
Are you serious?
Yeah. When you're out here on the landscape as a wild animal trying to make a living, there's a lot of things against you. So you may get killed trying to take down an elk, hit by a car, or, illegal shootings.
You mess with a bull, you get gored. I think that's the saying, right? Those bull elk are not going to be easy to take down.
No, they're not. They're good at defending themselves.
That's awesome. Okay, let's talk about the interrelationship between coyotes, which we have an abundance of, and the Mexican gray wolves. We talked briefly about, has there been interbreeding that you've witnessed or seen? And you, of course, were mentioning that you do extensive DNA on these animals through the blood testing that you do, and you're finding none?
We're not finding any inbreeding with coyotes. Now, in wolf populations in the eastern part of Canada and the United States, you do see crossbreeding with coyotes. For some reason in the west here, we do not see it. Wolves and coyotes tend to keep a respectful distance of each other when I've observed them out here in the wild. There is one example in the history of the project where a male wolf has actually killed a den of coyote puppies. But as far as wolves actively seeking out coyotes and killing them, like has been reported in Yellowstone, we haven't seen that, but they do keep a respectful distance from each other.
That was one of the arguments that was made, and of course it's probably valid up in Yellowstone, where the big Canadian wolves will kill everything and anything. If you are food, you're going down. If you are a competitor, you're going down. If you're in my way, you're going down. So that's the attitude of the Canadians, correct?
With some of the things as far as coyotes go and different relationships with different species of canines up there, that seems to be the case.
What about inbreeding between domestic dogs and our Mexican Greys?
It is possible for domestic dogs to breed with Mexican Gray wolves. It has happened at least 3 times in the history of the project, and we have been fortunate enough to find those litters, and we have had to destroy those litters. We do not want Mexican Gray wolves crossbreeding with dogs.
And out of curiosity, can you just tell me one instance how you discovered that it, A, happened, and B, how you go about doing that? Locating them.
The biology of the wolves, the female, when she has wolf pups, tend to they're in one spot, and we know what time that they den up.
Gotcha.
And counter to things that I've heard out there, wolves only come into season one time a year. They breed in February, and they'll have their pups the third week of April to the first week of May.
Well, that was one of my concerns too, is how often can the Mexican gray wolves breed, and how many times per year can they have litters? You know, we're going to go into a break in a moment. I wanted to know, can you hang on and go out and wait for us for that break period and come back for the next segment?
I sure can.
Appreciate it. For you, where are you right now?
I'm at the Blue Vista Overlook here off of Highway 191. I watched the sunrise this morning right here.
You know, there's something inherently wrong about that. You get to do that. We get to stay here in the studio. You hang on, Jeff. Appreciate it. We'll be right back.
Sun shines, clouds rain, train whistles blow. Smell like a sound. I'm lost in a crowd, and I'm hungry like the wolf.
Good morning, Jeff. You like that? Hungry like the wolf?
That was good. That was good.
Thank you, Jennifer.
She does an awesome job for us. Okay, we were chatting about how and when you collar them, et cetera, and the crossbreeding instances, et cetera. What is the overall, in terms of everybody, quote-unquote, seeing a gray wolf, which is everybody's claim to fame. I've seen one. Yeah, I saw it over here. I saw it in Flagstaff. I saw it in 6B. I saw it on top of the Havasupai Mountains. What's the furthest you've seen one of the wolves, quote-unquote, off the reservation?
Well, there is the White Mountain Apache Reservation that works with us, and the wolves are allowed to be there. Also, the Apache Sitgreaves and the Gila National Forest in New Mexico. Outside of those areas, we've had them go as far east as I-25 in New Mexico, but they've turned around and have come back. We've had them go as far north as the documented north as the Malpais National Monument in New Mexico. We've had that one go out to Flagstaff. That was very early in the project, I believe, 2002. That one came back and got hit on I-40 as it was coming back. And I believe in the very beginning of the project, there was one that almost went to El Paso, Texas.
Whoa.
But that one was caught and was brought back as well. Wherever there's big expanses of open area and wilderness, you can have the possibility of these guys wandering over there and wandering through it.
Are they mostly males? Are they solitary males that have been kicked out of a pack, or are they just all of a sudden got the get up and go feeling and decide to take off?
Generally, a male that's about 1.5 years or 2 years old will leave the pack, and the majority of these have been males. Females do leave and disperse as well. We've had females travel long distances, but usually they stay within the Blue Range recovery area where the most wolves are at.
Okay, now we've had the biggest thing that sportsmen, particularly hunters in the field, have are the establishment of trail cams. And trail cams, of course, are all over water supplies, etc. Do you get very many documented cases of wolves on trail cam pics that people send to you?
I have, and the most of the documentation has come within the recovery area here. I haven't had any confirmed trail camera photos of wolves outside of the recovery area.
Now, in terms, you mentioned that the Apache Sitgreaves is part of it. What about the Tonto? Because that kind of borders up with the White Mountain Apache as well as the San Carlos.
The Tonto is outside of the Blue Range wolf recovery area.
Okay. So if they decide to take a journey there and they don't come back real quickly, you're authorized to go back, talk to them, and convince them to come back onto the reservation, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
In a nutshell.
Is there a protocol that you have to follow for that?
The protocol that we do follow is if they're established outside of the recovery area, or there's a pack 2 or more wolves outside of the recovery area, then we will start making a plan to go capture those animals. If they're collared, it's easier to document how much time that they are outside of the recovery area. If they're uncollared wolves and they're only seen one time outside of the recovery area, it's hard to determine how much time they are spending outside of the recovery area. There's instances where we do have wolves at the boundary of their territories overlap with outside the boundary. And in those instances, sometimes we go to try and capture those wolves, and then the next day they're inside the recovery area again. So there's just being a little outside of the recovery area where they're more than likely to go back, but then there's other instances where they're so far outside where we have to go out there and catch them. Okay.
And then the other thing that we've talked about, at least briefly, is you mentioned that it's tough for a wolf to make a living out there to survive. Some of them have become habituated to annoying cattle, and the ranchers, of course, justfully put up a big fit about the fact that their cattle are being harassed, and at worst case, they're losing some of their body weight because they're concerned about them. They're moving pasture to pasture. And the ultimate scenario that we have that's a problem, of course, is when they start attacking them. And those are usually flank attacks, correct?
As far as attack points being on the rear end of the cattle, is that what you mean?
Correct.
Yes.
How many you document anytime you see that with a particular animal or a pack that's going after cattle. You don't have that many offenders now on the wild-born ones, correct?
Yeah, it appears that wild-born animals tend to not gravitate towards the livestock.
And then the one that we do have an issue with when we're talking about the livestock is how in the world can a rancher document when he's got cattle spread over hundreds of thousands of acres? And I mean, do you see the issue that they're facing with in terms of trying to go after and make sure that none of their cattle have been injured or nipped? But you, on the other hand, have the ability to track some of them to know if they've been in that locale, correct?
Yeah, and it's difficult, and I understand the difficulty in that situation. What we try and do is come up with programs and actually pay for ranchers to have more cowboys and more eyes out there on the ground so that they're able to find kills.
Correct.
Because it's not just wolves that are out here. If a wolf does kill someone's cattle, you have other predators and scavengers that can clean that carcass up really quick. So sometimes finding the evidence is very difficult, and you don't always find that. But what we do is we do work with ranchers to let them know where the wolves are at, and we do help with programs to try and get them more cowboys so they can better guard their cattle.
Oh, there we go. We got a boom population. And one other question we had, too, was in terms of the collaring of a wolf, what do those collars run? Because you're trying to track them on 6-minute increments, aren't they, or close to that?
There's two types of collars. We have a VHF radio collar, and then we have a few GPS collars.
What do those run per collar, typically?
A VHF collar is about $500 to $700, and a Pinnacle collar or the GPS collars we have can be anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000.
That's what I thought. I know that the GPS collar is the one that gives is that you can do a 6-minute incremental tracking on each one to know where they're at all times, correct? And that gives you corridor pet travels to watch what they're doing.
We can set it 6 minutes is excessive, and the battery power would run out very quickly, but we can run it every hour, every 2 hours if we want to. The collars that to maintain the battery life on them, we'll do a download every 6 hours when we normally will have it every 6 hours.
And so we've got 50 of those collars out there, 52 collars tracking the ones that we want to make sure we know where they're going, correct?
Yes.
If you can, we're gonna have to take a break again. When we get back, what I'd like to talk about, and you can mull this over, is, and you knew the answer. I'm a basic novice in terms of biology, but we want to talk about reverse engineering genetics and why the base of 7 comes back. Can you hang on for one more segment, Jeff?
Yes.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Where he'll go, you only know down deep inside you long to hear. I've got some big news. The bank finally came through.
And we have some big news because we've got Jeff Dolphin on the line. Okay, Jeff, pray tell, why are you standing on an overlook rather than being nestled in the comforts of a home this morning?
I'm actually out here tracking some wolves over here by the rim and just doing checkups on everything. But I like to get out here early in the morning. Everything tends to be a lot more active at the early hours here.
Where is that spot that you're at roughly?
It's right on the rim, and it's about, now I don't know how far north of Morenci, Safford we are here, but it's just about 3 miles south of Hannigan Meadows off of the Highway 191 there.
Okay, I know exactly where you're at then. You're near the arrow tree. Well, you're not quite close to the arrow tree, but you know what we're talking about when I say the arrow tree, correct?
I'm up the hill from the arrow tree. I'm just up the hill from it.
Awesome. Well, at least that's why we have the good reception. Okay, in terms of talking about the wolves, one of the things we have to speak with is the fact that we've got 2 Native American tribes, the San Carlos Apache tribe and the White Mountain Apache tribe. The White Mountain has given us through the feds, they have an agreement with the federal government where they will allow to have the Mexican gray wolves on their reservation. The San Carlos, on the other hand, has specifically stated that they did not want them on there. And is that I guess wolves don't know necessarily which piece of land they're on, nor do they care. They go where the food is good, etc. How often do you have to do retrieves from the San Carlos and remove and put back onto the White Mountain?
But speaking of the reservations, most of the stuff I can't deal with the reservations because they're separate entities, and most of the information has to stay or actually come from the reservation.
So that involves the Fish and Wildlife Service personnel, then they're the ones who do the adaptive management or removals or anything like that, correct?
Yeah, because it's federal entity to federal entity. They typically, the reservations do not deal directly with the state, they deal directly with the federal government.
That's interesting. So if it's on our land, it's good, and if it's on the White Mountain Apache or the San Carlos, it's in the feds' hands to deal, correct?
Well, the White Mountain Apache tribe is unique in particular because they have an agreement with the Fish and Wildlife Service, and basically they have their own wolf project personnel that works to manage wolves on the White Mountain Reservation.
So basically it's kind of like in their ballpark, they're the ones that handle it their way. Do you have any ideas to the numbers of wolves that are on the White Mountain Apache Reservation at any given time? I mean, as a home base, so to speak, are there like 20, 30, do you know?
That information has to come from the reservation, but I can tell you that there's 37 wolves in Arizona total. 37
total. So we can do the extrapolation. If pack here, pack there, we kind of figure out what's on the res, correct?
If you were real meticulous about it, you might be able to come up with that number, but the population numbers specifically come from the White Mountain Apache tribe. And if you wanted those numbers, you can call those guys and ask them, but that's all in their court.
Okay, so a good example, I'm a member of the Peace and Natural Resources Committee, and we meet on a quarterly basis. We were supposed to meet in February, but it's going to be March this time. And one of the ranchers in particular, there's a gentleman by the name of Johnny Johnson who has a piece of his property as well as his allotment borders all along the far western border of the White Mountain Apache tribe's reservation land. Do you ever get calls from Johnny about, I saw wolves and I've been here and I know they're there, that kind of thing? Because he came in a couple meetings and he was adamant about the fact that he had wolves running all over 23.
Not specifically from him, but I've had reports on that end before. Now, we know that there's wolves on the reservation, and whether they're coming off of that side of the reservation onto national forest or private land, we are in the process of trying to figure that out.
Gotcha. It's like anything else. We have to work with it. We know and understand the relationship we have with the federal government, with the Native American tribes, and trying to make this program work. We won't get into the politics because I promise you we wouldn't do that. In terms of how long have you been on the job now doing this for the department?
I have been with the Arizona Game and Fish since 2007, and I've been working with this wolf population since 2005.
In terms of the fatalities that you see from illegal shootings, do you have any rough idea how many you can document that have been handled that way?
I believe the numbers right now, there are 45 official confirmed shootings in the 16-year history of the project.
Has anybody ever come forward and said, "Hey, I thought this was a coyote and I shot and it's really not a coyote," and brought it to you?
Yes, that has happened.
What happens then to the individuals? I mean, I know it's a $50,000 fine for taking out a Mexican gray wolf. What do you do in those instances?
A $50,000 fine is not like the mandatory minimum punishment for those wildlife offenses. If somebody comes forward, which is better than trying to cover it up, then it's handled through the Fish and Wildlife Service law enforcement because they are endangered species, and then it'll be investigated. It may go to trial, and then it is the punishment is whatever the judge sees fit in that instance.
Okay, so that's how we'll handle it on the federal end.
Yes, if it goes to court, it'll go through federal court.
You have a fascinating job.
There's no mandatory. Go ahead.
I was going to say you have a fascinating job because I'm assuming that wolves come back and forth across the reservation onto like units 1 and 27 and head all over the place. I mean, again, they don't know boundaries. They don't know that they're in the state of Arizona or in the state of New Mexico. Who is your counterpart in New Mexico? Oh, it looks like we lost Jeff. That happens on occasions. We're not able always to maintain, and particularly when Jeff's out doing his job, which is commendable to be out there on a Sunday morning doing it. Pat Daddy, what are your thoughts so far from what you've heard?
I think I want his job. I mean, come on, he's a bounty hunter paid by the state. I mean, it's great. He's out in the middle of nowhere, enjoying it, and catching bad wolves.
Actually, bounty hunter is probably a bad term. We're not going to go that far. But basically, the way he described it was really fascinating to me on how often they are in contact with those wolves. He really does live out there. I mean, to me, it's amazing. So, are you back with us, Jeff?
Yeah, sorry, I tilted my head the wrong way here.
I have been there many times. I've stood on the back of pickup trucks to try and maintain phone reception. We talked briefly about the fact that we started with a pool of 7 Mexican gray wolves known to exist in the whole world, and that's what our current number has come from. And you were talking about reverse engineering, trying to get back to the zero base. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, if you think about it, I was trying to think of a way to explain this real simple. If you think about a deck of cards, and the original 7 founders is a deck of cards, and all those cards represent the gene pool, and then you shuffle those cards, and then you cut them, and then you have one deck of cards which would represent captivity, and one deck of cards that represents the wild population, and you're shuffling those cards over and over again. You got those genes in those areas, but now once you split the cards, you have genes and you got cards that aren't being shuffled with the other side of the deck. So you can go years and years of even though they've come from 7 individuals, of there no crossing between those 2 deck of cards. So with all of the genes represented from those 7, it's easy to maintain them with selective breeding. And to get the genes that you do want at a certain point, you can actually shuffle those cards back up to the original F1 generation that was produced from the founding 7. Is that clear?
Yeah, it is. And so what you're saying, and now my question is, of course, the captivity-reared wolves don't tend to do real well the first batch out, but the wild ones are doing better. Do you do artificial insemination, or do you run them just as is?
There's artificial insemination in captivity. There has been none of that going on within the wild population. So what we're looking at right now is a potential that all of these wolves are becoming closely more related to each other as time goes by. So there may there will be a need in the future to supplement the genetics of the wild population with the captive genetics.
All right, Jeff, can you stay on for about 5 more minutes? I want to close off, and I want to do it before the break. Can you do that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Jeff. We'll be back, folks.
Gonna try something different, and I'm hoping it's here.
But it was all that I could do to keep from crying. Sometimes it seems so useless to remain.
Oh, Jen, thank you, darling. All right, Jeff, are you still with us?
I'm still here.
As a finalizing for us, we have had no documentation ever of a Mexican gray wolf ever attacking a human being, correct?
We have not.
Good. That's number one. Number two, as of right now, you feel very comfortable, and based on our discussions, I do as well, that you know where pretty much all 83 are at any given time in the states of Arizona or New Mexico.
Yes.
And if we have issues that are coming off the reservation, we are supposed to deal with Fish and Wildlife Services.
If you have an issue that wolves coming off the reservation in Arizona, contact Arizona Game and Fish Department or specifically the Wolf Office, and we will look into that matter. Can I give that number out?
Absolutely.
The Wolf Office, the field office number is 928-339-4329, and we will handle those sightings or those reports as they come in.
You know, I appreciate the time that you took with us today. In terms of the understanding, I think that's the biggest thing we need people to do is to understand what's real and what's not real. Too many fiction stories out there about the attacks, too many. However, I mean, there are also things where some of the diseases that wolves spread are also spread by coyotes, too, correct? That was the spores that get dropped. Are we talking right about that?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and we don't have any documentation. We do have it up in the northern states with the Canadian grays, but we don't have anything with the Mexican gray wolves in terms of diseases yet, correct?
No, and what you're looking at specifically is that tapeworm has not been found in the Southwest.
Well, there's another plus for us. That's very similar to like chronic wasting disease that we've seen in some of the big game animals. You know, you see it in different spots. You see it where they're really in tight groups. And in Arizona, because of, I think, part of our climate, part of the fact that our herds are so separate from others, we haven't had that instance occur yet. So, where will you be this week doing what you're going to be doing?
I'll be in and out of the office over here and just looking at things in the field. Right now, we are curious to know what the predation rate is of these wolves, and so right now we're doing a lot of study to try and come up with the what the wolves are killing, what they're eating, and how much they're eating, and so that's what's occupying a lot of our time right now.
And we're finding pretty much that their favorite table fare is the elk, correct?
Yes.
Are we seeing them spreading off the plateau at all? Are they getting into deer country, or is it more that they're still trying to dine on the elk herds?
It seems where they inhabit, they like higher altitudes, and you find elk at the higher altitudes, higher elevations. We don't typically see these wolves going down into the lower riparian areas here around the recovery area.
Well, Jeff, I have to hand it to you. You've got a dubious task, and certainly I think you're a credit to the way you've handled everything in our conversations. And if nothing else, at least trying to get out what is truth, what is fiction, and calm people down in terms of what's going on. Certainly in terms of the politics of it, as the president of the Arizona Deer Association, I will try and have the limiting number. I would like to see the Mexican gray wolf recovered, but I'd like to see it recovered where it's supposed to be recovered, which is in Mexico, rather than trying to maintain and recover an entire species in the state of Arizona and New Mexico. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it, and we'll have you back one day in studio if you ever get down here in the Valley.
Sounds good, John.
All right, that's Jeff Dolphin from the Arizona Game and Fish Department. He is the leader for the Mexican gray wolf reintroduction team right now, and he handles all of those things that go on. What do you think, Pat Daddy?
I would like to sit with him and really pick his brain, because there's some things there that he's not saying, and there's information there that I would, the curiosity killed the cat type of thing. He knows.
There's a lot of things that Jeff knows. I think he's fairly candid with us in terms of the things that we did ask him. Part of what my agreement with the department has always been is that if it's questions on policy or emotions or anything like that, we're not going to talk about it. But for the factual-based things, the items are, what are they doing, where are they doing? I recognize that our ranchers are having a very difficult time, and I understand that. When most of their herd is been bred to be defenseless, and you put a top-line predator out there, like the Mexican gray wolf, it can cause some certain, we noticed it, and they're documenting it now, which is really good. The fact that some of the cows aren't handling gestation properly, the weights are down, and how do you determine that when your business is failing because you can't pinpoint a specific number of animals that have been eaten, but rather than, quote unquote, they're called worrying the herd. When a herd is worried that much, they're not going to do the things. All right, we're going to go into, unfortunately, we have roll call this week, and we're going to go into that right now. Marine Master Sergeant Aaron C. Terrain died February the 15th, 2014, during Operation Enduring Freedom. He was 36 years old of Paducah, Kentucky, assigned to the 2nd Marine Special Operations Battalion, Marine Special Operations Regiment, United States Marine Corps, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. He died February 15th in Helmand Province, Afghanistan, of wounds caused by enemy action. Army Specialist Christopher A. Landis died February the 10th, 2014, serving during Operation Enduring Freedom. He was 27 years old of Independence, Kentucky, assigned to the 2nd Battalion, 3rd Special Forces Group, Fort Bragg, North Carolina. He died in Bagram, Afghanistan, from wounds caused by a rocket-propelled grenade in Kapisa Province, Afghanistan. Army Sergeant First Class Roberto C. Skelt died February the 12th, 2014, serving during Operation Enduring Freedom. He was 41 years old of York, Florida, assigned to the 2nd Battalion, 3rd Special Forces Group Airborne out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina. He died in Kalispok Province, Afghanistan, of wounds caused by small arm fire. Army Specialist John A. Pelham died February the 12th, 2014, serving during Operation Enduring Freedom. He was 22 years old of Portland, Oregon, assigned to the 2nd Battalion, 3rd Special Forces Group Airborne from Fort Bragg, North Carolina. He also died in Kapisa Province, Afghanistan, of wounds caused by small arms fire. Those are the issues that we face. I hate doing this every Sunday with Don. We've been blessed that we haven't had many in the past, but this week we have 4. The price of freedom is always high, and for these gentlemen, they paid the ultimate price. We'll be back.
Rattle, and Troll, a show for the serious fishermen, as well as the novice looking for tips from the pros. Shake, Rattle, and Troll is brought to you by Bill Luke Dodge Chrysler Jeep. Now, here's your host, saltwater fisherman and tournament pro, Don McDowell.
All right, we're back. It is the anti-Don. This is the voice of moderation and reason, JK. Very seldom do we have guests that are this pretty, this young, and this talented.
Thank you, JK.
I knew you were going to do that. With us in studio is Ashley Wineland and family in tow. And Ashley, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do. I know, but let everybody else know.
Well, I'm Ashley Wineland. I'm 15 years old and live in Glendale, Arizona. I attend Deer Valley High School, and I'm a country music singer.
How long have you been singing, dear?
Well, I've been recording and stuff for 2 years, but I've really been singing since about 6th grade.
Oh. And you know what? The nice thing is that I had the opportunity to hear some of your songs prior to the show. My personal favorite's Hell on Heels. But why don't you tell us about Red, White, and Blue, which we have wristbands for, and basically is the song that I think kind of brought you out.
Yeah, well, Red, White, and Blue actually was the very first song that I've ever wrote. And the purpose behind it was patriotism is something that's really important to me. You know, I really appreciate our veterans and our servicemen and women and all that they do for us. So Red, White, and Blue was a way for me to help them out. I donate 100% of the digital downloads to veteran-based charities like Pets for Patriots and Wounded Warriors.
How do we do that?
If you go to iTunes or Amazon or even my website, ashleywineland.com, you can download those songs for... On my website, it's 75 cents, and then on the other...
We have a link
it's
on
99.
Shake, Rattle, and Troll.
That was the other thing I was going to say. If you want to find more out about Ashley, as well as to see some photos of her, check out at shakerattleandtroll.com, and you can see the pictures. Now, the big question. Are you ready to sing for us this morning?
Am I ready to sing for you? Of course I am.
And go ahead, talk. Go ahead, say it.
No.
What would you like to sing?
I'll be singing one of the new songs off my upcoming album, Family Business, called Perfect Not Me.
Perfect Not Me.
Perfect Not Me.
All right. We're getting ready. She's going to get ready. Go for it.
All right.
You know, JK, she will be at Bill Luke Bass Days playing on Sunday afternoon. We're going to have a concert in the park at 1 o'clock.
As well as she's going to be doing the national anthem Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, correct?
Yes. So.
All right. Here we go, folks.
All right. Perfect Not Me. I ain't so Barbie walking down the street. I'm far from being Miss Everything. So flippin' happy, it just ain't me. So let me be all I am. Just need to understand that that's the way it's just gonna be.
Whoa!
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Uh-oh.
Yeah, he's on the phone.
The boss is on the phone.
Should I be scared?
You should. Good morning, Bass Daddy, and I'm sorry.
I used to kiss her on the lips. It's all over now.
Maintain your career as a bass fisherman. Singing is not in your future.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, the bass fishing back here in Birmingham is just not what anybody expected. They got some floats moving in and out, water levels fluctuating, and I got to hang out with John Murray a little bit. They're holding their head up. All the Arizona boys. Dean Rojas came in 16th. He had actually for Dean, pretty good day. 20.14, 15.7, with a total of 36.5. I was really hollering for John Murray. John's finished in 37th place with a total weight of 26.12. And freshman, professional angler Josh Bertram did a good job, 40th place with 25.4. Clifford really struggled, 51st place with a total of two-day total of 16.1 pounds. And I want to throw out there, the Bass Nation circuit belonging to the Bass clubs. Mark Dove has made it to the Classic the third year in a row fishing the club qualifiers.
Whoa.
And he finished in 41st place with a total two-day weight of 24.9. Did one hell of a job. Now, the field has been cut down to the top 10 from 55 anglers. And today, wow, man, I'm telling you, it's clear outside. It's pretty cold this morning, and Edwin Evers and Randall Tharp are 1 ounce away from one another at 47.6 and 47.5. The guy that I looked that very possibly could jump out of the middle of the pack, he's in 5th place, is Paul Mueller. Paul had 9 pounds, 10 ounces the first day. Yesterday he weighed 32.3, which gives him a total of 41.13.
Sounds like he figured it out, didn't he?
That's what he said. He's a big fish guy. He knows the area. The water level had dropped on day one. Day two, it came up about a foot. And if his pattern holds, look out.
Yeah.
Look out. And anybody up there, if the first top three stumble, I think, Paul has a good day, or Casey Ashley has a good day. Not to be confused with Ashley Wyland, but there's some, this is like a bag of rattlesnakes, John. I said that before. Any one of these guys can come out and strike you. Bam, it's over.
Don, after sitting here for the last couple of years with you, the one thing I have found is that bass fishing and tournament fishing in particular is a humbling sport. It looks like the guys from Arizona weren't able to figure out the idiosyncrasies of that lake on a quick a note, and with the rise and fall of the water, I don't know how in the world they were fishing it.
It's, I fished Guntersville, and, it's a tough lake. On a good day, it's liable to spit up some fairly good-sized fish, but man, it's just it's been pounded, it's been pressured. It gets an awful lot of local pressure. Kind of like I'd say Lake Pleasant, same thing. It gets a lot of local pressure, a lot of tournament pressure, and these are obviously 55 of the best anglers in the country. Kevin Van Dam's sitting down here at 26. Ish Monroe's and our buddy Ish is in 23rd place. Freddie Robanis is in 21st place. He had a pretty good day on day one, with 23.2, which is respectable. you just never know, you know, and even Edwin was kind of hollering last night. He had a couple of fish that, you know, big paycheck fish that came unbuttoned right at the last minute, and he was really nervous, and then happened on to, you know, what he weighed in, which was a good, you know, 20.9 pounds.
That's a good day's haul. If you duplicate that twice, you're in the lead.
Yeah, just about. Those guys had some kickers, and overall, it's a Bassmasters Classic. It's going to sort out however it sorts out. You know, it's not without its drama.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's been a couple of lower end torn off at Guntersville, but you know the crowd's good. We're here at the BJCC and the Birmingham Sheridan. I've been tied up with Conservation Works with the new National BASS Conservation Director, Gene Gilliland. Our fisheries branch chief, Cantrell, is here studying up. And it's kind of interesting to see our branch chief, whom I'm personally very proud of, interact with the boys from Florida, Texas. We've got Utah here. Of course, we got it tied up last night at dinner talking about wolves. And, oh yeah, it's crazy. You know, I mean, the attitude across the country is, everybody's looking at Arizona. Chris has been extremely aggressive, well-educated, full of enthusiasm, and quite frankly, being in charge short of a year, he's gotten more done than the other two branch chiefs together, in my opinion, were able to do in 10 years.
All right, Bass Daddy. We got to go to a break. Appreciate the time. You want to hang on, or do you want to come back and when we see you?
No, you'll see me when you see me. I'm going to get back in the workshops here. We're knuckling down on grant applications and grant writing and sticking a eraser in your ear. So,
all right. Good. All right. Well, take good pictures and tall stories when you get back. Be safe.
Be safe, my brother.
All right. Roger that, guys. Thank you.
We'll be back, folks.
It's the end of time, and the Mississippi River, she's a going dry. The interest is up.
Okay, we're back. This has probably been one of the more interesting Sunday mornings I've ever spent trying to juggle everybody. And seldom, if ever, have we had anybody as young, as attractive, and as sophisticated as Miss Ashley Wineland in front of us. Oh, shucks. There we go.
So nice.
Okay, tell me a little bit about the song Family Business.
Oh, that's a fun song.
Wait. Don't you think we ought to ask Mom and Dad this?
No.
John, that's talking about moonshine. CPS could get involved if we're not careful here.
Oh, dear. It was actually inspired by the show Moonshiners on the Discovery Channel, and a little bit of my own kind of family history, too. My great-grandparents who lived back in Missouri on my dad's side actually ran Shine.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you ever... No, don't go there. Shh. Retract that question. I did not say that. Okay, I have had the opportunity... when I was a young man, centuries ago, working on a factory assembly line during the holidays, some of my friends who were from Kentucky would bring in a clear mason jar this liquid, and they would say, take a sip. It will burn your soul out, dear. Absolutely burn your soul out. So your great-grandparents actually ran some Shine.
Yes, they did.
You've created a heck of a song from it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to write and to arrange.
How long does it take you to write a song?
Just one song?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, I do some writing, And I know what I'll do is I'll get an idea and I'll ram it through. I'll just write, and then I'll go back and rework. How about you?
Yeah, I'm the exact same way. I'll just, like, all of a sudden have this idea, and literally I'll just blank out. You won't be able to talk to me. I'll just sit there and write it all out, and then afterwards I go back, edit it, do the arrangement, and then the whole song in general, just getting everything recorded and laid down, mixed, mastered, takes about, like, a month or two for just one song.
You know, one of the things that I like to do is, you know, I'm a words man. For me, I'm a wordsmith. I like doing that. I enjoy it. How do you determine when you're writing the words what the sound will be behind it, the beat, the rhythm, everything?
Well, usually when I write it, I have some sort of idea of what I want the melody to be like in my head, and then afterwards we go back and just kind of go through it and go, well, okay, this sounds good here, but that doesn't quite sound right, so we'll change it a little bit so that way everything flows together.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about creating a story, and that's what I really like to do with my music, is create stories that people can relate to.
You're really not 15, are you?
I am.
Nah, she's 33 going on 16, boys.
She's an old soul.
Yes, there's no question about that. I couldn't for the life of me, and that's a gift from God, but also you've cultivated it, that you're able to do the things that you do with the composition portion of it. I can write words all day long, but mixing a music to it is well beyond this boy's soul. So, what would you like to do in the future?
In the future, my hopes and aspirations are to just go as far as I can with my music, help others along the way too. That's something that's really important to me as an artist, is to be able to contribute and help people in any way that I can through my music. As far as like college goes and stuff, I would really like to major in veterinary sciences, which I know is kind of like totally polar opposite than country singing, but I have a strong passion for animals, which is also why I really like working with the charity Pets for Patriots.
Perfect. Speaking of that,
nice plug.
Jennifer, do we have somebody on the line waiting for us? Let's talk to Mr. Tim Andrews, who I think was one of your first contacts. Good morning, Tim.
It is.
Good morning, JK. Good morning, Ashley.
Good morning. Long time no talk.
You're sounding great this morning, hon. Absolutely great.
Thank you.
Isn't that incredible, her voice? I mean, it's better in person, obviously. If it carries well on the radio, you should be here in studio. It's a blast.
Yeah, I was actually kind of thinking about being down there, but her song "Perfect Not Me," yeah, you know, you can't fix it. I actually picked the S on my phone for Saturday, so the S on my phone for Sunday for the alarm, and well, there you go.
Oh.
We are so sorry, because I kept expecting to see you walking through the door at any given moment. So you're.
Well, I didn't want to ugly it up in there.
Based on the person I'm looking at across from me, and based on my own particular mug, you would have only enhanced the atmosphere here.
Yeah, he's talking about me, Tim.
Oh, well, it's good to hear you on the radio again there, Ashley, and I look forward to seeing you this Saturday night for your release party.
I can't wait to see you, too. I'm so excited you're coming.
Oh, that's great.
All right, Tim, thank you for coming on, and we appreciate it. I will see you Saturday as well. Oh, we do.
What?
All right, I want to know the man code, so we're going to have to wait till after the break. Can you do that?
We can do that. I can hang on for you.
All right. Ashley, you sit tight. We're going to have you sing some more.
Alrighty.
Patrick, don't give me that death stare anymore.
Yes, sir.
And Tim, thank you so much. We're going to have you hang on, and we're going to go forward with it. We'll be back.
Cutting the grass, left my truck at the boat ramp, and my boat is full of gas. My old boss thinks I'm sick today, he won't have me to harass, 'cause I'm out here on the river, and he can kiss my big old bass.
Big old bass. All right, we're back. All right, we're going to do a little bit of a two-step here. Mr. Guggenhauer, are you on the line?
I am. Good morning, JK.
Good morning. We're going to have you wait for 1 minute. We're going to play a man code that you need to hear. Jennifer, go for it.
I'm still a guy. I'm the dude. Surely you can't be serious. I am serious. And don't call me Shirley. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Whatever that.
Good morning. All right, here's this week's Real Man Code. It's Tim Andrews, and these are rules to keep your man card in your wallet and out of your purse. Now, despite recent media reports, there is no such thing as a man purse or a man bag. If you are caught carrying one, it is an instant lifetime revocation of your man card, unless your bag contains all the items needed to field dress an elk. There is no such thing as a man purse or a man bag. That's this week's Real Man Code. Okay.
Thank you, Tim. You have a great day. Did you, all right, Mr. Guggenhauer, did you catch that?
I got it, and I understand.
Perfectly. Are we crystal clear?
Crystal clear.
Good morning, Jim. Did you listen by any chance on the first hour when they were talking about the release of the 12 Canadian wolves into downtown Payson?
I heard part of it. I didn't. I was driving, and I couldn't get good reception.
That's okay. Just so you know, and you can tell everybody in downtown Payson, they did not release any Canadian wolves into downtown Payson, so you're all safe.
Good to hear. So far, so good.
Yep. All right. What's the fishing report this week, my friend?
Well, before I get to that, I just want to tell Ashley that Hell on Heels is my favorite song.
Yes, there's two of us.
Oh,
Thank you.
Goodness. Thank
you. But she has to hear when I listen to it. When I'm on the front deck of my bass boat and I'm fishing, I got my MP3 player going, got my headphones on, and that's the song that I think that the big female bass are singing to me.
That's perfect.
You know what? That's something that hasn't been thought of before. Acoustically engineering sounds from her songs down into the water to lure the big bass in.
Ooh.
So the line in the song where it says, I'm going to make a deal with the devil,
yeah.
I understand.
You and I have made way too many deals with the devil, haven't we, Mr. Guggenauer?
That's for sure. Hey, the fishing report for Roosevelt Lake absolutely improved again this week. This is like the third week in a row that as the winds get slower and the temperature gets a little warmer and that water heats up, the anglers, especially the experienced anglers, are finding good fish there. Those bass now are moving in clearly into a pre-spawn stage, so we've got fish moving shallow. You can find them there. Anglers are using spinner baits, buzz baits, 5-inch soft plastic swim baits, and they're doing really good on them with shallow water. Shallow water being like 15 to 25 feet of water. So, and even shallower. In the afternoon, they'll even get up more shallow than that. The lake remained at 48% full. The Salt River, it continues to slow in the flow that comes into the lake. It's down to 38%, and the Tonneau Creek has just about stopped flowing. Now, the water temperature in the lake, which is what I referred to earlier, which really brings the bass shallow, is 50 degrees in the morning and increasing to 55 degrees in the afternoon. So, in addition to the spinner baits and the buzz baits, a drop shot was working. There's one bait that always seems to work good in the spring. It is a blood red robo-worm on a drop shot. This is like a 7-inch worm, and a lot of anglers are familiar with this one. Put it on a size 2 hook for a drop shot, and you're almost guaranteed to catch fish there. The other thing that was ironic, and Don brought this up last week, he was asking about the back of Sally Mae Cove for some reaction bait fishing, and I hadn't heard any of those reports, but I asked about it this week, and 2 anglers confirmed that, yes, Don was right. In the back of Sally Mae Cove, where it starts to shallow up, guys were doing throwing jerk baits in there and doing real successful on them.
You know, yesterday I was up there. I have a javelina tag, and I was up there archery. I chose archery over rifle because it's so much more fun. But I noticed it was 29 degrees, and the winds were blowing up on top about 30 knots. Are we seeing that kind of a variation? Is that affecting the way the fishing's going?
It definitely will, John. If there's any kind of a disturbance to the weather this time of year, the bass get very skittish of that. And usually through March, it does that. You know, there'll be a front that rolls in or a wind picks up and it really pushes the bass back to deeper water. But as time goes on, you know, nature's going to do what nature does. So those fronts have less of an impact the further we get into late March and April. But from what I'm hearing, the experienced bass anglers are telling me that those fish are spawning right now, some of the larger ones, and that's early for when we go, for big numbers of bass to be spawning. So we could have this all the way through the end of March. Mid-March, we have another full moon coming, and that's typically the time when those fish move up to spawn. So it's going to be a fun spring on Roosevelt Lake for sure.
How about on the lakes further north? The ice is obviously out on all of the trout lakes. Have you heard any reports from up there?
You know, the roads are usually the bigger issue that they keep closed. You're right that most of the ice is gone from the lakes now, and I'm saying that the roads are opening, albeit slowly. And we're recommending that anglers, if they want to go up on the rim and fish for some trout, that they call a local business or visit the Game and Fish website to get the latest conditions on those roads. But for the guys that are getting on those lakes, there's holdover trout that were put in last year that have gone through the winter, and some of them are 2 years old now. And there's some nice trout being caught on the rim lakes right now.
Oh, I don't doubt it. How about Little Green Valley? Are they stocking that already?
Yep, continues to get stocked, and you know, fishing's always excellent down there. You can't say enough about two baits that just about 90% of the fishermen are using, and that would be a power bait and a small Mep-size spinner bait. Always work on Green Valley Lake.
All right. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint here, Jim. There's a CD release party this coming Saturday evening at 7 o'clock, and we are giving away 2 tickets to that. And we want our listeners to call 2 pairs of tickets.
2 pairs.
Okay. I've been corrected.
This time.
Again, by Pat Daddy. Phone number is 602-277-KFNX or 277-5369. You, Mr. Guggenhauer, might have an opportunity to win if you're the 5th caller.
Let me make sure I got that. 277-KFNX.
Correct. You've got the number down.
I got it.
All right. Well, you have a great week. Thank you for the update. I hope all goes well, and you can allay the fears of everybody in Payson that there are no Canadian wolves that have been released. As a matter of fact, we haven't seen any cross off the reservation yet into the Tonto area, and we want to keep it that way, don't we?
We absolutely do.
I'm sorry for the boys from Arizona. They had a tough week over at Guntersville. It doesn't look like none of them made it into the finals. But, again, the way that water level changed for a foot drop difference overnight, I think that you have to be local, I think, to know that, or hit into some luck. Do you agree?
Yes. In fact, you know, in the coming weeks, we'll share a good story from Clifford Perch. There was a guy fishing 100 yards from where he was. That guy is in the top 5, and Clifford did not make it. That's how a slight difference in location and where the fish are moving and that water drop can make to experienced anglers that know that lake and others that are there just for short times.
Have you talked to him since the tournament started?
I did. I spoke with him this morning. And as a matter of fact, he said he's going to go to the Bassmaster Classic show today, so he'll probably run into Don over there.
Oh, yeah.
Then he's headed home tomorrow. He'll probably be home Tuesday night, and probably going to be the same for the rest of the Arizona guys, too.
All right. We'll give them all our regards. Thank you for going out there. I know it's a long trip, and we'll do well. And again, for those listeners, 2 pairs to the CD release party for Ashley Wineland. We'll be back. Jennifer. We're back in studio, putting the finishing touches on 2 hours of chaos with wonderful Ashley Wineland in front of us. Ashley, we've asked you to sing a song, and you have chosen Gunpowder and Lead. Tell me a little bit about it first.
Gunpowder and Lead was one of Miranda Lambert's first hits, and she is one of my biggest idols when it comes to country music.
Awesome. Feel free to fire away when you're ready. Here we go.
All right. County Road 233 under my feet. Nothing on this white rock but a little old me. I got 2 miles till he makes bail. And if I'm right, we're headed straight for hell. I'm going home, gonna load my shotgun, wave out the door and light a cigarette. If he wants a fire, well now he's got one, and he ain't seen me crazy yet. Slapped my face and shook me like a rag doll. Don't that sound like a real man? I'm gonna show him what a little girl's made of, gunpowder and lead. Well, it's 10:30, another 6-pack in, and I can feel the rumble like a cold black wind. He pulls in the drive, and gravel flies, and he don't know what's waiting for him this time. Hey, I'm going home, gonna load my shotgun, wave out the door and light a cigarette. If he wants a fire, well now he's got one, and he ain't seen me crazy yet. Slapped my face and shook me like a rag doll. Don't that sound like a real man? I'm gonna show him what a little girl's made of, gunpowder and lead. Well, his fist is big, but my gun's bigger. He'll find out when I pull the trigger. I'm going home, gonna load my shotgun, wave out the door and light a cigarette. If he wants a fire, well now he's got one, and he ain't seen me crazy yet. Slapped my face and shook me like a rag doll. Don't that sound like a real man? I'm gonna show him what a little girl's made of, gunpowder and lead.
Whoa. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Let that be a warning to all men.
Is it hard for you to sit there in that chair and sing that? Because it looks like you're wanting to jump around.
It's the inner performer in me who just really wants to kind of go full out on it. So, yeah, kind of. It's a little bit difficult.
I think that a stage is in your future, dear. You certainly do look like you would enjoy bouncing around with
Well,
it.
March 16th, I'll be up there for Bass Days at 1 o'clock.
Where is that?
Lake Pleasant.
Bill Luke Bass Days. And by the way, we still are looking for one more pair of tickets to her CD release. You dial 602-277-KFNX or 602-277-5369. Okay, where are you at in school now?
I am in 10th grade, and I take, like, all honors classes.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. I am in the symphonic band at school, and I also take Spanish. I'm in my 2nd year right now.
Awesome. Now, in terms of your future, you're going to have to probably work one against the other. Obviously, with your the interest that you have in the medical field, along with singing.
Yeah. It's kind of helping right now to learn how to balance everything and really manage my time, because it's not easy to balance school and singing, but, you know, it's all about perseverance and just saying, you know, I have to do this and I'm going to do it well.
Have you been doing any live performances anywhere in town?
Not recently, because the band and I are getting ready for the CD release party on March 1st.
Okay. How about in the future? You have anything planned out yet?
Other than Past Days, there isn't anything that's really set. But over the summer and over the weekends up until about the end of May, I hope to be on the road a lot more.
Any ideas where you want to go?
Ooh. Well, I really want to go to places like California and Texas, and maybe if I'm lucky, I'll get to go to Missouri.
Ooh.
Fingers are crossed.
You're taking her out of state. I see a lot of nods from the parental unit in the background here. Yes. And in those states, are you going to be playing at clubs? Are you going to be playing concerts? What are you going to be doing?
I hope to be playing at a lot of, like, festivals and just really big family events.
Nice. Have you hooked up with any of the local bands at all and talked to them?
I'm really good friends with singers like Ryan Sims, Gus Campbell, Matt Ferris. Those guys, we're all really close.
Okay. And so that's kind of, it's going to be real interesting to watch her as she develops into which area she's going to be working harder at. Yeah. I can see the passion that you have for both of those things, but certainly the music, it's absolutely wonderful.
That's the dream.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, that's always the road that everybody, hypothetically says, but it's also a dangerous road. But you seem fairly well grounded.
Yeah. It's really important. I'm so thankful for my family. They keep me humble, and they're always there to support me. So even when things get really tough, I always know that in the end they're going to be okay because we just work through it, and that's really the gist of this industry. Is you just have to work through those really hard times.
That you do. And I know that there are difficulties all along the way with any path that you choose, but if you've got your mom and dad behind you working on it, it's good, and they seem to be very much in your corner. That's really nice.
Yeah, I'm very thankful to have them, and just my whole family and all of our really good friends have just been super supportive.
Cool. Just so you know, at some point down the line, when you are famous, you can always just say, I remember when. Way back when I was on a Sunday morning with JK and Pat Daddy, and I sang live on the air, which I'll never do again, right?
Oh, no, I really want to come back. You always got to remember where you start from.
Awesome. I think that's you would absolutely, I know that the Bass Daddy himself would love to have you back, and particularly when he has the opportunity to be in studio, right, Pat?
Yes, he would.
All right, we got one more time. We're going to pass it through. We've got 602-277-5369 for 2 free passes.
And a CD. I see a CD sitting there.
Yeah. You saw a CD. You don't see a CD. You saw a CD.
No, let's give that away, JK. I've got one for you.
Okay. We'll let it slide right back. See, it was the disappearing act. It was there a minute, then it's not.
Magic.
This is the only place in the valley where you can get a CD. This one isn't not even released yet.
Nope.
Oh, that's true. That's right.
So this is an exclusive for Shake, Rattle, and Troll right now.
We finally got one.
I know.
Yes. All right. Before you go, is there anything you'd like to sing one more song?
I think I'm good for today, but thank you guys so much for having me.
We appreciate it. That's absolutely wonderful for us. All right.
So tell us, where is your CD release party going to be?
It's going to be at Scottsdale Studios, which is on Doubletree Ranch Road.
Where is that? That's between Scottsdale and Hayden, is it not?
It's off of Via Linda.
Off of Via Linda? Okay. Yeah. For those who need to know. Perfect. At least we've got that down right.
Yeah. I've got it in my GPS already.
I figured you would be. Well, it's been a chaotic morning, but we really thank you for coming down, and thanks for playing along with us and some of the issues that we had to go through. For those who know radio, it sometimes gets a little bit dicey. Jennifer kept us in line today. Our thanks go out also to Jeff Dolphin for taking as much time as he did, sitting on top of a mountain and going over all the issues regarding the Mexican gray wolf.
And keeping his head straight.
Yeah, not moving his head an iota so that he did not get disconnected. I know there's a lot of us who have some real legitimate concerns about where we're going with this Mexican gray wolf reintroduction and putting it into the status of an endangered species. We preferred the 10J experimental instead of a truly endangered species. We think there needs to be a heavy involvement from the country of Mexico for this animal. 90% of its historic range was in Mexico. That's where it should be. And while we are a cooperating partner, we are just that, a partner. We are not going to be the lead dog in this sled race when we only have 10% of its historic range. Certainly the cooperation that's been exhibited in the past has been wonderful, and I look forward to what we're going to see come the rulings in the next few months.
We have to be the example, though. We have to take the lead on this on
how
the
to
rest
handle
of the country.
I agree. Absolutely.
They're looking at us.
Yeah, they are. All right. This is J.K., the one from Miss Ashley Wineland, and Pat Daddy from Shake, Rattle, and Troll. We'll see you next Sunday.
We're out of here.
Going honky